Jumping into our next topic, obviously, the Golden State Warriors haven't done too much splash-wise in terms of free agency. They did sign Otto Porter Jr. But other than that, nothing crazy. They did not choose to re-sign, at least yet, Kelly Oubre. Um,
Garb.
what are your predictions for the Warriors this year, Liam?
Look, I've got high hopes for the Warriors. They're welcoming back the best two-way shooting guard in the league in Klay Thompson. It might take them a few months to get back into things, but you add the Splash Bros back together in that backcourt. James Wiseman has another off season. You got Draymond Green who's working on his craft with the US team. And whether they bring back Kelly Oubre Jr. or continue Andrew Wiggins playing the three, I think the Warriors are really building together. They also had pick 7 and pick 14, where they chose not to trade either of those picks, signing Jonathan Kaminga, who many people thought slid down a bit in the draft. He's an 18-year-old, 6'8", huge ceiling, averaged 16 points, 7 rebounds. However, did shoot 26% from three, which is a little bit alarming going onto the Warriors team. And then they also picked up Moses Moody at pick 14, who's kind of could develop into a 3-and-D kind of wing guy. So I think the Warriors are really setting up for the future nicely. They're really adding to what they have, and they've still got a lot of moves that they can make in this offseason.
Is that the right move though? Setting up for the future. If they're Klay and Steph, probably have maybe 5 good years left, maybe, and 2 first-round picks. Do you really need to use those on guys who have to spend time developing, especially since you got pretty much championship or bust aspirations? Making the playoffs is not really a win for them next season.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. And I personally feel like they should have. They still could trade their picks, like the players they picked, but personally feel like they should have traded those picks, even future picks. Who cares what the next 2 years of first round picks are if you're going to be winning the finals every year? So definitely feel like they could have even James Wiseman traded him away for a big superstar.
Even Kelly Oubre, what did he do?
Also, Kelly Oubre is now a free agent, so the Warriors.
They should get rid of him.
I think he could go.
I mean, look, he's pretty much worse at shooting than Klay, and he doesn't play defense. So why would you need him on that team?
Yeah. What's your record prediction for the Warriors this year, Liam?
Look, I'm gonna give, I reckon, a 48-win season for the Warriors. I reckon
so they're playoff, man.
Well, look, you look at Steph Curry's season last year. He was an MVP candidate. He was balling out there. You add Klay back to that. They add Otto Porter Jr., who has only played 14 games and 28 games in his last 2 seasons, respectively. So he's signing on a veteran minimum, which that really helps them in terms of cap space. And I think he's kind of that. They lost Kent Bazemore, who was a 35% three-point shooter. Otto Porter Jr. is a 40%. So they're making improvements there. But for me, I think they need a backup point guard or shooting guard. So one of Danny Green, JJ Redick, or Avery Bradley would be great additions.
They would be for sure.
And then they could also try and lure Marc Gasol away from the Lakers. Or if Kevin Love's bought out of his contract, I think he'd be a great fit. Would be a great fit for the Warriors.
No, he wouldn't, mate.
How about you, AP? What are your predictions?
I think Liam's win prediction's pretty solid. Around between under 50, over 40 sort of number. And I'm looking at them making the playoffs. I mean, look, they definitely turned it up towards the second half of the season last year, because the first few games they had a really bad win streak. Kelly Oubre missed his first 30 attempts. 3?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah,
I think
so
Wiggins combined for that.
Yeah. So I mean, look, man. I mean, they did take a while to get their rhythm going, but once they did, they definitely found it. And it was Steph at the helm, doing magical things, dropping 50, 60 a game, and some of them to try will them into a playoff spot.
For sure. I definitely agree, especially with Klay coming back. If he's even 80, 90%, of what he was, like that takes so much pressure off of Steph. Like we saw when they were both playing together, it'd be like one or the other would pop off.
Yeah, it was just
Um,
lethal.
from anywhere too. Like Steph can finish, he can shoot from three, mid range. Same with Klay. Klay is pretty aggressive when he drives. So I win wise, I think I'm looking at a 45 to 47 wins this season. Just under, I'd say they're a fourth seed. They're a fourth seed. You obviously you have the Clippers, you have the Lakers coming back with Westbrook. And obviously the Suns NBA final lists, and then the Jazz are always freaks in the regular season. So those guys will be fighting for the top four seeds, and I think the Warriors will slide in at the bottom. But they know, they don't have to win that much in the regular season. They're probably going to focus on keeping Klay and Steph healthy for the playoffs. Since they've been so injured.
That's right.
But yeah, tell us your Warriors predictions for this season in the comments.